Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paige and today I'm going to give you some Halloween recommendations. Now, the Halloween recommendations I have chosen are not horror or particularly scary. These are more wholesome Halloween recommendations. It's a wholesome recommendations video. I have 8 books to share with you today. Some of them I have read, some of them I plan to read by the end of the month, others are just books that I saw and I thought were cool. If you enjoy this video, if you want to see some other book recommendations, do subscribe and leave a comment down below, and I have a whole playlist on my channel dedicated to book recommendations, so you can go check those out. I've done mythology ones, I've done cozy reads, I've done non-fiction reads. You should go check them out. I think spooky books are some of my favourites to read. I love October as a month because it's like the first point in the year where you can start to get festive and get excited about something. To try and get in the spirit of things, even though it's going to look a little bit different this year, here are some wholesome Halloween recommendations. So the first recommendation I have for you is one that I've talked about before, and I've been so excited to read this book. So excited, in fact, that I'm forcing myself to wait until right before Halloween to read it, and that is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is the book that the movie is based off of, the movie with Sandra Bullock, and this is about sisters and their witches. And it's set in New England, so you've got that perfect New England autumn Halloween spooky vibe. I feel like the best spooky stories are set in New England. They're kind of brought back together by a tragedy and magical stuff starts to occur. I'm not entirely sure of the plot because I haven't read it and I don't want to spoil anything. I am so excited to read this, so I kind of gotta pass it on, I've gotta pass on the excitement. So yeah, definitely I think if you're looking for the book version of a cozy Halloween movie, Practical Magic is it. This is the book, this is the tweet. That's it. Speaking of tweet, I have just got my Twitter back. The link is down in my description. It's finally been unlocked. Twitter finally heard my emails. The next book that I want to talk about today is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is about a very religious society. They are governed by the church and magic is absolutely not allowed. Witches are burnt, they are persecuted, a huge distrust of magic and all things witchy. And then, as usually happens when you decide that your enemy is magic, magic decided to bring down these plagues upon this society. It's up to our main character, who is a bit of an outcast because her mother ran off to live with some witches. It's up to her to save the entire town, and she does it kind of with the help of love interest. I will say the romance aspect of this story isn't as big as I would have been interested in it being. This is a very feminist tale. I think the exploration of religion is chef's kiss, we love it, and it's definitely spooky and quite dark, but definitely not a horror or scary in any way, so definitely check this one out. Alexis Henderson's writing was really interesting and I would definitely be down to read more from her because I love me a good witch book. We've had 2 witch books in a row. I'm here for some witches. I think they might be my favourite supernatural creature. Let me know what your favourite supernatural creature is down below. The next book that I would like to talk to you about today is Witchbourne by Nicholas Bowling. Now, I came across this on Goodreads and immediately added it to my want to read. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to place an order for this book or see if my library has it so I can read it this October. This is a historical thriller but with supernatural elements. So it's set in 1577, which is during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, and it's during that whole power struggle between Queen Elizabeth I and Mary, Queen of Scots. So, you know, we love some strong females. That's a period of time I particularly love. I'm very interested in Mary, Queen of Scots. It's about this cross-section between supernatural elements and politics. And that's all I needed to read of the blurb before I added it to my want to read. You've got supernatural stuff, you've got witches. I did not mean to do the 3 witch books in a row, I've been randomly selecting them and it's happened this way. You have witches, it's a thriller, it's dark, it's historical, it has all the makings of a wonderful story. It looks good, okay? It looks like everything I would want in a story. Whilst we're on the topic of Goodreads, The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones has been on my Goodreads TBR for a while, and it's probably not one of those ones that I'm going to get to anytime soon, but every time I read this blurb or I see it come up on my screen, I'm like, I need to read that. This is about a 17-year-old protagonist called Rin, and her family are grave diggers. They like work in a cemetery. I think they live in the cemetery in this story, I'm not entirely sure, but she's very attached to it, she loves it. There's kind of a curse placed on this cemetery, so sometimes the dead don't always stay dead, and it's these risen dead people that are the bone houses. So Rin and a male protagonist called Alice go on this kind of adventure to try and break the curse that are placed on the bone houses so they can just rest in peace. It sounds like everything I would love, especially doing forensic anthropology this year. It just sounds right up my alley, and oh, there's so many books that I want. This next book everyone has been talking about, and if you follow me on Twitter, I have also been talking about it a lot and complaining about how long this book took to get to me, especially considering I pre-ordered it. The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by B.E. Schwab. Can we just talk about this cover? It's not as big of a book as I was expecting it to be. I thought it would be taller and thicker, but I'm not complaining. It's just gonna make me sad because I'm gonna get through this really quickly. This is what it looks like inside. This is what it's like under the dust jacket. This is such a pretty book. I can't get over how pretty this edition is. Now, if you aren't on Twitter and you haven't seen absolutely everyone talking about this book, this is about our main character Addie, and she has been invisible for 300 years. Absolutely no one sees her, remembers her, engages with her at all. And she walks into a bookshop and she meets a guy who remembers her. And so obviously their lives then become intertwined, things start to happen. But the devil is not very happy that someone remembers her, and so they're kind of pulled in a million different directions by the devil himself. And I cannot wait to read this. This is one of my most anticipated releases for this season. I can't wait. I'm gonna be doing a reading vlog of me reading this and filming it this weekend, so do check that out when it goes live, because the excitement is unlike anything I've ever felt for a book before. This next book is also by an author that everybody talks about and will probably be on absolutely everyone's Halloween list this year, so I do apologise. And that is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And this is about a boy who is raised in a graveyard by ghosts and like a witchy figure, I believe. And it just sounds like a really, really interesting premise. And I believe it's like kind of a children's book, but adults can read it too. It's a very family friendly book, so it's got that wholesome, cozy Halloween vibe that we're looking for. I feel like this book would kind of be like Hocus Pocus in a book form. Neil Gaiman is someone I've heard so much about, and it's quite disappointing that I haven't read any of his books yet. But a story about ghosts? I want to read a story about ghosts. Why is no one creating books about ghosts? I'm not gonna go on a tangent again about underrepresented people and pirates. I would like to see more mythical creatures in books. I'm sorry, I'm tired of reading about vampires. I just am, okay? The last book I'm going to talk to you about that I haven't read yet and don't own yet, I apologise, there's a lot of these. The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. This book has a very cool but very strange premise. So this is about Dr. Jekyll's daughter, as in the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde like classical gothic story, and she is going on a mission to hunt down Mr. Hyde in order to avenge her father. And in the process she gets helped by Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. It's just the weirdest collection of characters, and I would be really interested to see how Theodora Goss brings them to life and what kind of interpretation she has of Sherlock and Dr. Watson, especially after I did my reading all of Sherlock Holmes in 24 hours video. I would just be really interested to see where the story goes. This isn't really an explicitly Halloween read, but it is based on the gothic genre, so it will probably have some of those gothic tropes in it. Just really interested, and if you're looking to maybe get into some of the more classical gothic stuff, maybe this is a good place to start. I don't know, but I thought it was a really interesting concept. The last book on this list, well, the last series on this list is The Miss Peregrine's Home. The Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series by Ransom. This I've talked about before, and I've also mentioned that I haven't finished these. I read the first one when it came out because it was getting a lot of hype on BookTube, and I really loved it, but the hype for me didn't last long enough that when the second book came out I went to go buy the second book. So I haven't read them. However, I am actually picking up the rest of the series at the moment, Do with that information what you will. Maybe there's a Halloween video coming soon. So I'm very excited to read the rest of this series. This is about children of an orphanage, and spooky, eerie, magical things kind of happen around them, and our main protagonist is trying to get to the bottom of what's going on, and he becomes friends with these orphans and stuff starts to happen. It's a middle grade book if you're looking for something aimed at a younger audience. This is like eerie and atmospheric, but absolutely not scary. Perfect for kids, but I know a million different adults who also enjoy this series. The book is exceptionally unique in that it aims to be a blend between literature and photography. So as you can see, there's like original photographs included in this book. It's truly wonderful. I cannot wait to reread it and progress with the story. So I figured I would include it in this video, just in case you kind of forgot that it existed, because I definitely forgot that this was like a spooky read perfect for Halloween, so thought I would remind you if you fancy a reread or something like that, I don't know. So yeah, of the books in this video, I only have 4 of them as actual copies. The rest are just want to reads and recommendations I thought I would pass on. So if you do check out any of the books, do let me know, because I'd be interested to see if you enjoyed them as much as I did. But if you choose one of the ones that I haven't read yet, let me know to tell me if you like it so I know whether to check it out. I probably will anyway, because I have no self-control when it comes to books, but hey ho, yeah, do let me know what you think. Do follow me on Twitter and subscribe down below. We just hit 100 subscribers, I'm very excited about it. I hope that you enjoy this video and you get some recommendations out of it. Do check out my other recommendations if you want more of that, and I have a load of challenge type videos if you want to see more of that kind of booktube stuff. Just have a browse, I have something for everyone, I think. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on Friday for my next video. Bye.